I think it's Franklin. That was the part of the concern in both cases.
And I will repeat, I think it's the fact that we have to censor what the jury uses to decide. When the founders of the country gave them the power, it has to be censored by the judge. That's really insulting. So I'm not going to say there aren't cases where a jury could overemphasize something, but for me to say, well, there's a video that is purportedly an accurate depiction of what happened, and you can only look at it so many times, I'm not going to do that. So they know the risk, and they've assumed it, and so they can watch it. They'll do with it as they see fit.
So I understand they're ruling the videos.
All right, maybe they're stepping it up now. So let me just give y'all some updates real quick, just so you know. I can't tell how many people on. I don't see any of the comments on here. Stupidity at its finest is what's going on my end when it comes to this digital stuff. However, I want to give y'all some quick updates, and there's been a huge dilemma in the appropriateness of the prosecution. And I'll play this live so you can hear what's going on in the background, but they're deliberating how they're going to handle the video, the drone coverage that was in 4K pretty much. And then when it was submitted to the defense from the prosecution and entered into the court record, it did not have a sufficient visual quality or clarity to it. And so now the defense is arguing that they withheld evidence in this case that should cause a mistrial with prejudice. So just so you guys know, I mean, they're going to go to break and go to recess, but this is very interesting what's going on and how this is transpiring. I'll just put it on this screen because I don't like what I look like. But I'm just trying to give you guys an update. I wish I had more information. I was assuming that they were going to read the verdict at some point today, but this is a huge development. The prosecution in this case have been dropping the ball from the very beginning. They really have no argument. The prosecution has no argument. They do not have a compelling case to prosecute Kyle Rittenhouse. And for anybody who's thinking about, well, he should have did this, I mean, stop watching mainstream media. You need to look at this case and watch it for yourself. If you're going to make an informed opinion, you need to look at it for yourself. I don't know how many times I have to say this. You need to watch the trial. You need to look at the evidence presented. You need to listen to the direct and cross-examination of witnesses. You need to listen to what is presented in court, because what's presented on Fox News, CNN, what's presented on The View, that's not what the jury is going to hear when they deliberate. People need to understand it. So the prosecution has been a failure from the very beginning. I could have prosecuted this case better, and I think that Kyle Rittenhouse is innocent. But I could have prosecuted him better than what they're doing. So earlier in this case, they attempted to have a witness change his testimony. The witness came on the stand and said, no, you wanted me to change my testimony. They said, no, we didn't. We just asked you to add to. He said, no, you wanted me to change my testimony, and I didn't want to. They are already cutting up. Then when this video comes out, you have to think this is an actual video of Kyle Rittenhouse look like in 4K, the exact approach from Rosenbaum, the approach, the throwing of the backpack, how fast, how accurate, how clean. He turned around and addressed Rosenbaum as a threat. Clear. 4K. But they refused to present that to them. What I heard was that they sent it to him from an Apple phone to an Android, or Android to an Apple phone, which everybody knows when you send videos, they're distorted, they're pixelated because, you know, how the image is condensed or the video is condensed or whatever. They sent them that knowing that it wasn't sufficient. And then after the trial, the video is presented in 4K. And I'm not quoting 4K because I don't know if it's 4K or not. But the video is presented in a higher quality. Let me go daytime. In a higher quality. And the jurors didn't have an opportunity to see it with clarity. The defense didn't have an opportunity to argue it or object to it with clarity. And therefore, they're arguing that this should be a mistrial. I think the judge is going to try to give them an opportunity to represent this to the jurors and then go from there. I don't think he's headed towards a mistrial. It should be, but he's trying to give them every reason, right, rhyme, or reason to fix this. So that's a pretty huge thing that's going on in the Kenosha case. But overall, I just want to clarify a few things for people who are watching this. First and foremost, it's not even a question of should Kyle Rittenhouse be in Kenosha. It's not a question. They've deliberated and it has been brought out in court that he has family that live in Kenosha. He worked in Kenosha. He volunteered in Kenosha. And Kenosha is pretty much right down the street from where he lives. There's not even an argument. There's no relevance to saying he shouldn't have been there. He couldn't be there. The possession of an illegal gun. When the judge asked the prosecution, what is the law? The prosecution argued or had to be forced to state that it is not illegal for a 17-year-old to have a rifle in Kenosha. It wasn't even illegal. So all the people that are running around saying he was an illegal in possession, he was a minor in possession. I think it involved a short barrel shotgun or something else that did not qualify in this statute, which rendered him possessing a rifle at 17 to be legal in Kenosha. And everybody out here saying it's illegal, it was a lie. That's why the judge strike that charge, or I don't know if that's the proper term to say strike. That's why he got rid of the 6th charge of a minor in possession of an illegal firearm or illegally in possession of a firearm. That charge was striked. That's why it was only 5 charges. And that charge wasn't involved because it's not against the law. And if the people on the television will tell you, he was 17, he can't have a rifle. That's not Wisconsin law. Every state has their own laws. Some of them are very consistent, right? Some of them are consistent across the board, general laws. But some states have different laws for different particular, whether it's 17, whether it's 16 with an adult, all of these things, they have different laws. So now he wasn't in possession of an illegal gun. He was defending property, which he has a constitutional right to do so. And then you have a guy attack him on camera, which is viewed. I might pull that video up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Hopefully it don't get me banned. But I'm gonna pull that video up of the video in contest or the controversial video that they obstructed from the defense. Let me find it here. All right, let's see if I can. It was a very now of course I didn't save the video. Of course I didn't send the video to the right place. Okay, I think my wife got it here. Okay, let's see. I can't make it any bigger. Dan Bongino posted it. Let me try to see if I can make it bigger. It won't go any bigger. All I can do is get rid of the all I could do is get rid of the people. My wife sent it to me. One second. It's gonna be nearly impossible to see this the way you should, but I'm gonna try to do it to the best of my ability anyway. So let's pull in this clip so you guys can see. All right. If you can see this video on your phone with some level of clarity, at the top is the blurry screen, and at the bottom is the more clarified screen, right? And even a little bit of watching this through the TV screen, I think I could probably find this somewhere else. But for now, you can see that it's blurry and it's clear. And when you watch the actual audio, you can see people running. You can see exactly where everybody's at. And then here you can see, this obviously shows the shooting in it. But you see how blurry he is versus how clear he is. Whether he pointed a gun, whether he didn't point a gun, this makes it a tremendous difference and the way the jurors can see what exactly happened, who had a gun, where was the person running, what was the gun pointed. You can't tell what direction this gun is pointed here. You can't hear. So I say, is the verdict in? Right now, the verdict is not in, okay? They're going to have to go and deliberate again because I think the judge is trying to get the clarity that I just showed you, try to get that evidence to be presented to the jurors so they can give a accurate and factual evaluation of this particular case. So let me see. But while I'm on the subject, you guys don't miss paying attention to what's going on in Ahmaud Arbery's case. Do not miss paying attention to that, because I honestly believe that they are intentionally running these concurrent so that y'all miss something in these particular instances. They want you to miss something. Right now, the McMichael is testifying. One of the youngest son, McMichael, is testifying in the court of law of what he see, what he did, how these things transpired live. So while we're sitting here, I may play a little bit of this. I may play a little bit of this while we wait for the verdict, but just so you can hear how this is going.
At the end of Holmes on Still side.
Okay. And where is Mr. Arbery?
Mr. Arbery is with the vehicle, front quarter panel,
What side?
driver's side.
Driver's side, so over on this side.
Yes.
Okay. Doing what?
He is running with the truck. And then as we're getting closer, he looks like he's grabbing the truck at that point.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking it looked like he was trying to get in the door. If he wasn't, the vehicle wasn't behind him. He wasn't behind the vehicle. He was with the vehicle, and he was on the vehicle. There was an open yard right there. This was about where the scene happened.
Okay.
So I can't play the whole thing for you, but I'm just y'all can go back and watch it. But I just wanted to give you an indication of this is a testimony of the Ahmaud Arbery's case that they don't want you to be talking about. I think it's weird. I think it's very weird that they're playing this case. This case is playing out at the exact same time as Kyle Rittenhouse. And I feel like they figured that you'll think about Kyle Rittenhouse and you wouldn't be thinking about this one. Now, there's rumors in the Kyle Rittenhouse case that the two jurors are holding out because they're afraid of if they give a not guilty verdict that the whole Kenosha city is going to burn down. The reason that we even here today talking about this is because of what happened in Kenosha and protesters, or I wouldn't call it protesters, agitators, looters, rioters, arsonists who were attempting to burn down the city, and Kyle was trying to defend businesses or trying to help defend businesses. That's the reason why we're here now. So for you to think if he gets off that they're not going to do the same thing or worse, people are afraid of that. They're afraid of that. So if you look at both of these situations, they're very congruent. They're very similar. And I'll keep you guys updated on if they come back and they have a verdict, but I don't think they're going to have a verdict right now. I think right now they're going to try to reintroduce this evidence to the jurors, and they don't have to bring them down in the court. They can send the clarified video to the jurors as they deliberate so that they can deliberate. But let me tell you this. There's no way that Kyle Rittenhouse is going to be found guilty. I don't think there's no way. There is no way. This was too clean and too obvious of a situation in order for them to have any chance. You see how bad the prosecution is. And so I think that barring race and all this old crazy stuff, man, if you just separate color, everybody's the same color. Everybody, is these numbers. You don't even look at people, just look at numbers. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Number 1 did this, number 2 did this, number 3 did this, number 4 did this, number 5 did this. And then you could do it like that, and I think it'll make more sense to people. Kyle Rittenhouse had a right to be there. He was legally in possession of a rifle. He got attacked by a lunatic who was not afraid of a gun. I don't know. He thought Kyle was a punk. I don't know. He attacked Kyle Rittenhouse. He was then shot. Then Kyle is going to get mobbed by everybody else. He runs in a state that there's no duty to retreat. He runs for the second time for his life towards law enforcement officers. He didn't run this way. He ran towards the police. And he got there. Before he can get there, he falls down, and they attack him while he's on the ground. One guy jumps up to kick him in the head. He took one to the chest. Another guy hits him with a skateboard. Each one of these violent actions by the perpetrators could have been fatal to Kyle Rittenhouse or could have caused serious bodily injury. Then one guy pulls a gun on Kyle. In his testimony, he said Kyle didn't shoot him until he pulled a gun and advanced on him. And then Kyle shot him. 17-year-old boy, if you ask me, was pretty witted. For him to be on his back and be able to get them targets like that with precision, I think that was pretty impressive, if you ask me. So Kyle, in no way, form, or fashion, should be found guilty. I don't even think the mob is strong enough to overturn the logistics and the reasonableness in this case. But the McMichaels, I'm telling you guys, people want me to be wrong, or people are emotionally invested in Ahmaud Arbery. They are emotionally invested in, like, he didn't deserve to die because he was running the house. We need to understand the totality of circumstances surrounding the McMichaels case, because a lot of people, are being misled by listening to mainstream media, even in Ahmaud Arbery's case. Now, I'm going to go watch this video a little later so I can watch the rest of it, but I don't think they're going to give a verdict. But even in this Ahmaud Arbery's case, people are not paying attention to the reality of what's going on here. I'll play a little bit of it as well.
This guy's now looks like he's trying to get in this vehicle, verified from what I suspected on Burford when he was up there.
Okay.
And the way that he interacted with the vehicle, and then my past experiences with him is, no, I'm not. I don't want to get involved in this. I don't want to get with this unless I have to.
As they passed you, as Mr. Arbery passed you, did you roll the window down and hang the shotgun out the window?
No,
Did you pull the shotgun and aim it at him?
I did not.
Did you yell at him or say anything to him?
I don't believe I did. Well, no, I did.
Okay. You get to the end of where you said you parked.
Yes, sir.
All right. So now you're down here. I'm just going to move it over. So there's our street. You're parked down here.
Now, let me say this. According to the law, they should get off. This should be a not guilty. The judge seems to be biased against the McMichaels. He seems to be biased. I mean, I heard him ridicule one of the lawyers, and it wasn't a big deal. The guy that they were objecting of something stupid in his testimony. It wasn't a big deal. But he reamed him and walked off the semantics of walking out the court and all this old crazy stuff. But these guys are not guilty. And you take color, you take race, you take all this aside. If it make you feel comfortable, just say that the McMichaels were black people and Ahmaud Arbery was a white guy. Just take all that bull crap aside and look at the facts. And I'm just going to do this real quick. I'm going to lay some quick facts out, and you guys can then determine what you think about it. But I want to make sure you have the facts, and then we'll go back to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. But in the Ahmaud Arbery case, one of the facts that people are not aware of is that he just testified that he had an encounter with Ahmaud Arbery the day before. There's burglaries that occurred. He said it on a 911 call that he believed Ahmaud Arbery was a burglar, because there was burglaries that happened, and he believed that he was entering the residence at night to continue to burglarize. People need to understand the law of burglary. Burglary doesn't mean you have to take anything. You do not have to take anything to be charged with burglary. if you enter a structure occupied or unoccupied with the intent to burglarize, then you can be charged with burglary. When it comes to a citizen's arrest, all a citizen needs, and you may disagree with the law, but all a citizen needs in a citizen's arrest is probable suspicion that a person has committed a felony crime. Probable suspicion. You don't need probable cause. You don't need reasonable suspicion, which I think reasonable suspicion is a step under probable suspicion. You don't need to observe him. You don't need to see him do it. You don't need none of that. You need probable suspicion that this person did this. He has established probable suspicion from his encounter with Ahmaud Arbery the day before, the fact that Larry English had reported to his neighbors that people were stealing things from his house, and they caught him on camera, Ahmaud Arbery on camera multiple times, stealing things. I mean, not stealing things, but they caught him on camera during the time things were stolen from this particular residence. So he didn't have to see him do it. He don't have to know that he did it. He just have to have probable suspicion that he may be entering this property with the intent to take something. That's the easiest burden to prove. And once they did that, they had a right to arrest him. In the state of Georgia, you can open carry. You can open carry in the state of Georgia. And so they can carry a gun to conduct a citizen's arrest. They followed him. Not one time did they attempt to kill him. Not one time did they shoot him. Not one time did they pull a gun on him. They even recorded the incident and called the police. That to me proves that they didn't have intent to kill somebody. If you're going to call the police and you're going to video record the interaction with him and you chased him for 5 minutes straight, and not one time did you shoot him, not one time did you threaten to shoot him, not one time did you present a weapon, that to me rules out the intent to murder somebody. It's going to be very hard to prove because the burden of proof is on the state to prove that they had this intent to kill this man. Only time a shooting that occurred was when he grabbed for the shotgun. Let me play a little more.
He's continuing, still eye contact. I'm at my truck, doors open. I'm on the inside of my door. I see he's coming. I go to grab for my shotgun. As soon as I turn and go for my shotgun, he turns. At this point, he made it to about 10 feet from the back of my truck. My dad's yelling at him. And he runs back towards Dogwood. Goes back.
See, this is what people don't know. They had an encounter with him before, and he ran the other direction. They could have shot him there, but they never did.
It's the permanent. He runs down here to a point. You're saying stop, and then you say he turns around and goes back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. What do you think? When did he turn? At what point did he turn?
He was about 10 feet from the back of my truck, but my action of going into my truck is what made him turn, I believe.
Okay. He turns, then what happens?
Starts running back down till I pull the shotgun out and I start going down there to see what's happening. And I said, no, I need to stay where I'm at. My dad's up here in the back of the truck. I know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on down there. And this guy is still irrational. It's still not, something's still not right about this. I'm going to stay right where I'm at.
Okay.
So I put the shotgun right back on the door, pick up the phone, call 911.
Okay.
That's
As soon as I call 911, I dial, I pick it up to the ear, and I see Mr. Arbery turn and come back. I don't know how long it took.
See, this is what people don't know. He called 911 and he handed the phone to his father.
The first time on Holmes. Now he's gone back across the dog leg,
Ran
which
out
is
of
up
sight.
here. Back across. Now he's coming back. Okay. This is now the second time he's coming back down Holmes.
Yes,
Okay. You said you just given the cell phone to your dad.
yes.
How is it that you decided to call 911 at that moment?
This was prior to the second encounter, or prior to the encounter I just had with him.
Yeah.
I asked my dad, I said, where are the police? And he said that he didn't have his phone. And I realized that he has not called 911. And actually, as that was going on, I had to crawl into my truck and go to the passenger floorboard where my phone was. It slid off. and called 911. And as soon as I called 911, I looked, and Mr. Arby has already passed the dog leg and was coming back again. So
When he comes back again across the dog leg, did you see anything behind him?
no,
Do you see the black truck anywhere?
I did not.
Other than Mr. Arbery, do you see anything?
No, it was just I was focused on Mr. Arby.
And how is he coming back?
Same way that I just mentioned to you prior. He was in a jog at a pace.
Okay.
Like I said, he was like spring loaded, like like a running back, like he's ready to bolt or to move any way he wanted, but he was focused on me.
Right. Now,
This is the crucial part. This is when he's going to talk about shooting him.
running towards you. Right. Is that what you believe to be this moment now?
This is that moment.
Okay.
Yes.
As he's running towards you at this moment, what are you thinking?
That I'm pretty sure that he is going to attack.
What makes you think that?
The totality of this circumstance, what I just witnessed with the truck, what happened on the 11th, the way that he acted on 11th, and then his eye contact on me, and not looking left or right or pivoting and avoiding where I'm standing, where I'm at on this truck.
Are there, in your mind at that moment, are there places that Mr. Arbery could run to?
Yes.
Are there locations available to run to or through?
Yes.
We'll get back to Kyle in a minute. But this is important.
Yards, there's ditch. The ditch that was right there at that scene is shallow. Like when run back to where I saw him with Mr. Brian's truck, one of the things that kind of threw me off was as they're coming, he wasn't blocked. He could have went into this ditch here and into this open yard. It's a very shallow ditch. It's probably from mound to mound 4 feet wide, but it was maybe 2 feet deep all the way across, and it was dry. You could hop across it.
At any point, do you see in the video, we all see in the video where you raise your shotgun?
Yes.
You see that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember doing that?
I do.
Why'd you do that?
He was closing in. At this point, I've yelled at him to stop several times. This one again, I've screamed at him to stop, screamed to stop. He is focused in on me, and he's at this gate where he's looking like he's about to run. He has the possibility to get this burst out. And if he gets this burst out at this point when I pulled the shotgun, I wouldn't have time to react if he wanted to get on me or to pull a gun or have a knife, or if he wanted to do ill will. At this point, this is when I needed to show him to deter him to do not come at me.
How do you know at this point you have to do that?
Because everything that's happened, everything that's
Still no verdict in the case with Kyle Rittenhouse, because I mentioned it earlier, but we'll catch up. I want to hear what he got to say.
From training and prior experience, there's a thing called Tooler drill.
A what?
Tooler drill.
Okay.
A 21-foot roll, I think, is popular area.
Okay.
It says that any average person, it takes 21 feet for somebody to react. It's an average of 21 feet for somebody to react, to pull a weapon and fire 2 shots at somebody that charges you with a knife or anything like that. Mr. Arby's already running.
This is the Mont Arbery case.
He's directed at me.
No verdict for Kyle Rittenhouse at this point.
I'm yelling at him to stop, and he's continuing. At
You
that
say
point,
he sees that you have a weapon.
Mhm.
How do you know that he sees you have a weapon? What do you do?
I had the weapon out at this point, and I had it down at a position like this. Port arms is what they call it.
Okay.
And it's blatant that I had this shotgun.
When you raise it at that moment, for the reasons that you did, does it have the effect that you hoped it would?
Yes, it did.
Which was what?
It did. He angled. He no longer went my direction.
Okay.
As soon as I drew the weapon on him, you could see in the video that he darts to the left, and darts to the right and then commits to the right. When he does that, as soon as he darts, I put the weapon back down and move away from my vehicle. Make a distance. I'm thinking he's going to go across this yard.
Well, what if he did?
I'm just going to let him keep on going. Let him run on by, like I've done on Burford, like I let him do on Holmes when him and Chevrolet passed him.
You say you let him do it. You mean when you were on Burford and he ran away from you?
Yes.
You mean you didn't follow him?
I did not.
You didn't shoot him?
Just so people understand, I'm just playing this critical point in the Ahmaud Arbery's case.
Your direction.
But
That's right.
Kyle Rittenhouse, they recessed, and I'll tell you why. I said at the beginning, but I'll tell you why once.
On the right side of the truck and decides to bolt through the yard. Was the yard open?
It was.
And if he did that, what would you do next?
I watched him run on by. It was at this point, I know the police are coming now, and I know they're going to come from the front of the neighborhood. And if he turns right, he is going out of the neighborhood. And I could watch him, I could see him, see where he's going, and he's gone. He is no longer a threat to that vehicle that he was just interacting with. He's no longer a threat to my father or myself. If he turned left, I know which way he went. Police come in, hey, he's right down there. Or if he turns around and goes back the other way, that's where he's at.
He's coming towards you. You raise a shotgun.
Yes.
To deter, he has the effect. He turns. Now where does he go?
He makes it to the corner of the road. He never goes into the grass.
Okay.
Straightens up and starts running back straight to the truck where my father's in the back of the
You've seen the video. I don't want to ask you to interpret what you've seen on the video.
This is important
You to tell us
with
what
the
you've seen.
Ahmaud Arbery case.
Okay.
This is critical. This is the
When he
biggest part.
runs up the right side of the truck. What are you thinking?
That he is after I deter him, or after I point the shotgun at him, when he angles and then he turns and starts making it directly to the truck, I'm thinking, well, he's coming back to the truck again. My father's in the back of the vehicle.
So what? Your dad's in the back of the vehicle. So?
Yeah, so the path he's making, he's going to make contact with the vehicle or going to be around the vehicle. He can jump up, grab dad, or still under impression that he might be armed, that he could run up and shoot. I'm not going to be able to see him at this point. I have a vehicle between me and him. So at this point, I leave. I'm a little past my door.
If this is your door and this is the truck, at some point.
Say no clickbait. If you're smart enough, you would know that I've been on here for 33 minutes, and this is an important part of the Ahmaud Arbery case. They already got a recess
And then when he
for Kyle Rittenhouse. If you were smart enough, you realize that I already spoke about Kyle Rittenhouse. This is a big case that they don't want you to watch.
Outside of this, why?
Yeah, I was gaining distance. I was making distance. It was obvious. I thought it was obvious at the time that he was going to glance and just go through that yard. That was what I was thinking was going to happen.
You said your dad's in the back of the
He
truck.
is.
Stupid question.
Yes.
Do you love your dad?
Yeah.
Are you worried about him?
Yes, I was.
So you come here, and now what?
So, yeah, I'm on that side of the vehicle. He's running back. I'm losing. I'm not going to see what he's doing, what he's capable of, what he's going to do. I don't know what he's going to do.
No
What do you
verdict
mean you're
yet.
Losing?
I'm losing visual, losing sight of him, losing where his hands are
Because of what?
because of my vehicle,
Okay.
because of my truck.
All right. So where do you move to?
I moved to the front of my truck, and at this point, I'm thinking either he's on my dad at this point, or he is going to run by, or he's going to see that I have gone to the front of my truck, and he's going to finally turn and glance, or glance to go across that yard. I don't know. He can try to jump in my truck from the passenger side. He could lay down. He could draw a weapon if he's at this point. This is the point that's critical that I think.
All right. So
is
just
the critical point.
to be deliberate about this.
Yeah.
If this is the front hood of your truck, this
People, you need to know this. They've recessed on Kyle Rittenhouse trial. If you're smart enough, just rewind the video and hear what I said. This is important.
saying you can't see what
This is the most critical testimony in Ahmaud
This
Arbery's
in your
case?
mindset at all?
It was, yes. It was.
And what is this?
It's hiding. It's hiding or being away from me, cover, concealment.
Cover concealment.
Yeah, he's covered. I can't, he's concealed. I can't see him. I can't see what his actions are or what he's doing. Can't see his hands, can't see what he's got. Still under the impression that he might be armed.
Yeah.
He's close to my father. I can't see what's happening. I need to see what's going on. And he has access to my vehicle, which is still running, by the way.
So what do you do?
So I go to the front of my vehicle.
All right, front where?
Front left corner panel, turning into it, going to the front of the hood.
All right, so if we're here, this is the front left of the quarter panel, and this is the right front quarter panel, from here to here. Where do you come to?
This is the most important testimony in this case. Let me go back and see what Kyle Rittenhouse is talking about. Hold on a second. See if they back alive. God, there's nothing there. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see nothing live. There's nothing live in Kyle Rittenhouse case. So just real quick for people, I gave an articulable testimony of what I thought. Let me put this back on.
By the time I get to the front truck, he is at the front corner panel on the right-hand side, and he turns and is on me, and is on me. I mean, in a flash. I mean, he's immediately on me.
On you doing what?
He grabs the shotgun, and I believe I was struck on that first instance that we made contact.
What were you thinking at that moment?
I was thinking of my son. It sounds weird, but that was the first that's the first thing that hit me.
What did you do?
I shot.
Why?
He had my gun. He struck me. It was obvious that he was. It was obvious that he was attacking me. That if he would have got the shotgun from me, then it was this is a life or death situation, and I'm going to have to stop him from doing this. So I shot.
Did he stop when you shot?
He did not. No, he did not.
Can you remember everything, every hand, every movement? Can you remember those things?
No, I know that I was.
I ain't even got the.
I know that I got hit, and I know that I was.
Hold on. I got trolls in the thing.
Weapon retention. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
With a shotgun or a rifle, it's called the push-pull method, and when somebody's got a weapon, you go to port arms, and you push out and you pull down, is what you're taught.
So we're gonna switch gears real quick. I think the Rittenhouse cases, they're coming to talk again. I don't know why this thing won't pop up fast enough. Kyle Rittenhouse. I got to go back and watch that. Y'all should watch it. But, bruh, like, this is the biggest part of the Ahmaud Arbery's case. Let's see. Somebody live. Is this?
Then the minute we all leave, then everything's got to be shut down. Okay.
What are they talking about? I could rewind it. All right, let's catch up what we missed. They came back in the courtroom, and this is what happened. I'll play it. So, anyway.
Where's the DA? Oh, here they are. All right, what's going on is that the parties have agreed on a mode to present over the defendant's objection, the material requested in note number 5, I think, and that's ready to go, and it just needs to be, the right button needs to be pressed, and they can play what they want, and we're going to evacuate this room. Everybody, including everybody, only the jurors will be allowed in here, and they will be instructed to knock if they want. The bailiff will be outside the door, and the media have to leave, And if you leave anything electronic, bailiffs are going to search the room. If you leave anything electronic,
Okay, so pretty much what happened. You have the clarity of video of the actual shooting of the first Rosenbaum shooting from Kyle Rittenhouse. The prosecution, which I think is a dirty prosecution, the prosecution sent the video to the defense and entered into the court, and it was a blurry, grainy video. They had the clarified video, but they sent it to him on a separate device, which messed up the quality, and they presented it in court. It was what the defense had to work with, right? The evidence that the defense had to work with. After the trial is over, they see if he's saying anything else. I think they got him muted. After the trial was over, this 4K video of the incident that the jury didn't have an opportunity to see was now presented. The defense came back and they I think they were intentionally going to go for a mistrial with prejudice because they had withheld evidence and the jury didn't have proper evidence to make a verdict on. Let's see if he has something to say. To make a verdict on. So the judge, the defense, the prosecution, all, I believe, came to the conclusion that they will send the clarified video up for the jurors to watch. And so now what they're going to do is they're going to evacuate the court. They're going to have the jurors come in, and the jurors are going to be able to watch the video unobstructed.
You're here in respect to your request number 5, and what's going to happen is
he's explaining it to the jurors.
I think it's all queued up, and all you have to do is press the right button, and you can view the material as much as you like, and you can close in closer to the screen if you want. It'll be your call. You can discuss it, and you'll have complete freedom of privacy because we're all going to be out of here, and we've already done a check to make sure there aren't any kind of devices that would pick anything up. Then when you're done, there'll be a bailiff outside this door, and just knock and advise the bailiff that you're done, and then you can return to the jury room. Any questions?
Both screens.
I believe that's the one. It's going to be that one. Okay. Any question? Yeah, ma'am. The court TV? Yes, they are. I permitted them to stay in here while I did this explanation to you, and then we're going to leave, and they're going to leave. There'll be nobody in here but you 12 jurors. Okay. No sitting in my chair. All right. Anything else? What's that?
How would you know?
Good question.
I never get why they
All right.
joking and stuff
All right,
like
we'll
this.
see you whenever you're.
That remote right there will control the body.
Okay, so what they're doing pretty much is they're going to leave the jurors in there. This controversial video, and I'm going to show it to you real quick. The jurors in there, they've blocked the screen out, but the controversial video that we're all talking about here is, let's see if I can find it here. It's going to be this one that Dan Bongino posted. I'm sure there's a bigger video of it, but here's a controversial video. So you can see, even with the limited view and how big it is, you can see that this is a blurry video and this is a clear video. The prosecution sent in the blurry video into evidence. They had the clear video. The defense wanted a mistrial because they felt like that this wasn't sufficient for the jurors to be able to see what was going on and for them to be able to defend or object on this blurry video. After the trial and after the jury went to deliberation, this video came out. They felt that it was improper by the prosecution to not present the clarified video of the FBI drone. Now the judge has allowed for the jury to actually watch this clarified video and then make their deliberation. All right? They're going to watch the clarified video and then they're going to go and make the deliberation. Now, that's going to go for a while. They're going to watch it for a while, and we could come back to it. But I'm telling you, like, I want to watch this Travis McMichael testimony real quick. You don't have to watch it with me, but I want to watch this because this is going to make or break this case.
Pistol's holstered. Rifle or shotgun, you got it in your hand. It'd be easier for somebody to get it from you. So I always exclusively train people to do this push-pull. So it's natural for me. It's, it's trained into, it's muscle memory. And when this happened, I was in Port Orange. I got struck, and I remember when I came down, I got hit in the top of the head, and he had the weapon in his hand. So I pushed and pulled, still getting hit. And
Did you get it free from his grip?
I don't believe I did. I don't know. I don't know exactly when or where or if he continued grabbing, but we were together. We were locked up. He was on that shotgun.
You've seen the video we've talked about where you see you're being pushed across. Do you remember?
No verdict
Do you
today
remember
so
where
far.
your bodies were moving?
I know that he was. I didn't know where I was at, but I knew that he was on me. I knew that I was losing this. I knew that if I was getting tripped, if I would have tripped, or if he would have got a lucky strike on my head, or if I would have lost that grip on that shotgun, that I would have been shot, or I'd have been in serious trouble at that point. I knew that he was overpowering me, but I didn't know which direction.
I'm gonna pause this real quick for the people who are on here that want to know what's going on with the Kyle Rittenhouse, and why I'm playing this video. Just real quick, Kyle Rittenhouse, like I said, there was a controversy with the videos. The prosecution and defense and the judge remedied. It should have been a mistrial, but they remedied this particular instance to allow the jurors to now watch the clarified video of what they've already seen, okay? And after the jurors watch this video, then they are going to be able to determine and finish deliberating and determine if Kyle Rittenhouse is innocent. I think Kyle Rittenhouse is going to be innocent. And I'm watching this because Ahmaud Arbery's trial, which I don't know if you guys remember this or not, Ahmaud Arbery's trial is going on at the same time. And this is huge. This is the testimony of the person who shot him. This will determine his fate for sure. And so I'm gonna watch a little bit of this. First of all, I got a discount code for y'all if you want to shop on the store, for only my people that really love the store. And we're gonna restock today, Friday, Wednesday. The next Friday is all our restock days. So if you somehow go to the store to buy something that's sold out, click notify me when made available for any product you want. We're restocking this today, and then we'll restock next Wednesday. And these things will be available between Wednesday and Friday. So just know you'll get it if you missed it out today. Discount code 30% off my entire store. Discount code free Kyle. So if you're a shopper on the Opposite Tatum store, if you don't shop, then don't listen to what I'm saying. If you're a shopper on the Opposite Tatum store, you're gonna get 30% off, and this is only gonna go to tonight. I'll do it tonight. Waiting on this verdict. 30% off my entire store. Free Kyle. Free Kyle, one word, 30% off if you're interested. Like I said, if you see items on it that sold out, hit notify me when made available. We'll restock those items in the next, today and then Wednesday. So every Wednesday we try to restock. All right. So, but I want to see this real quick. I want to listen to this real quick because this is important to me. So y'all can hang on here. I'll stay on in case they deliberate on Kyle Rittenhouse here in the next couple of minutes. But I want to hear this.
Or what mechanics he was doing to overpower me.
Do you, at that time, did you remember how many times you shot the gun?
No, I didn't. I thought I shot twice.
But you shot it. You shot it.
Yes. Yes.
Do you like I said, do you remember how many times you did?
I thought it was twice until later on, speaking with the investigator, that I realized that it was 3 shots. But I shot the first shot. I knew I shot. And then the second shot, I shot again because I was still fighting. He was all over me. He was still all over that shotgun, and he was not relenting. So I shot again to stop him. That third shot, which I thought was second, that final shot.
People are saying, why is the Kyle Rittenhouse thing taking so long? I don't know if you guys are familiar with court hearings and stuff like that, but it takes a while for the juries to deliberate. Sometimes it takes days. They may deliberate in through the night. They may wake up the next day. They may not be able to agree. They may need to see new evidence. In this case, they were getting ready to deliberate without proper evidence. So now they have to now revisit this video, watch it, and then go in and try to deliberate on, what should we do? If you ask me, I'm gonna watch this by myself later because y'all, some people want to see it, some people don't want to see it. I'm gonna watch it by myself. Y'all can do it. I'm gonna watch it because then people gonna be arguing me about the Ahmaud Arbery case and they ain't even watched the trial. So they're gonna have to deliberate shortly after watching the video. Stevie Wonder can see that Kyle Rittenhouse is innocent. He remains innocent. He's not guilty. Kyle Rittenhouse is clearly not guilty. He defended himself. It is no question. And anybody who disagrees with me that's watching this, stop looking at the mainstream media. Stop it. They are lying to you. Stop looking at the mainstream media. Go and look at the trial for yourself. Look up these laws for yourself. Let's see. Somebody said do an update on the Ahmaud video. I will. Stop looking at the mainstream media. But anyway, they're going to deliberate for a little longer. I'm going to watch this. If anybody want to watch the, let's see, what are y'all saying? Slow-mo. Block these trolls. Self-defense, self-defense, self-defense. These are both self-defense cases. These are both self-defense cases. So I'm gonna go back to the McMichaels, and I'm gonna watch this. And if you want to watch it, stay on here. If you don't want to watch it, then I'll catch you later when they read the verdict.
And at that point, he let go. He turned and continued to run down Satilla. And at that point, I was in shock. I turned around. I don't know where I was going. My dad came out, and he was yelling that he's got his hand under him. I turned around. We got over there and pulled his hand out from under him and realized that he was deceased. And I looked up, and the police were right there. I stood up, realized that that I got a gun here, and that he's passed away. The police were on scene, so I walked over to the side and put my shotgun down. After that, it was a blur. It was shocking. It was a blur.
I want to see cross-examination.
To the police on the scene?
I do.
Do you remember going back and giving a statement to Officer Nohilly?
Yes.
Did Officer Nohilly give you an opportunity to reject talking to him?
He did.
Did you agree to talk to him?
Yes.
Do you remember having to sign a form and all that technical legal stuff?
Yeah, he told me, he gave me my Miranda rights, and I agreed to them and agreed to make a statement.
What was it like sitting in the room with Detective Nohilly, trying to recall the specifics of this event?
I struggled. I was trying to give him as much information as possible. I thought that I did a good job until I've read the statements.
I thought you did a good job at what?
At giving him a clear idea of what happened. Reading the statements now, I was all over the place.
All over the place in what way?
In describing what happened, giving the dates and the timeline of what happened. It seemed that I was speaking, it seemed like I was reliving the situation. I would go to one thing, I would say, I saw him on Burford, and then we lost the phone, but when I grabbed the phone, it was just everywhere. I was everywhere. And it was under stress. This was less than 2 hours after shooting, I was not in my right mind at that.
Travis, you understand that you've been charged with having an agreement of sorts with Roddy Bryant.
Objection.
What's the objection?
Well, We can get into
This judge is horrible in this case. This judge is horrible.
All right.
That's the state.
Travis, did you ever coordinate with Roddy Bryan to box in Ahmaud Arbery?
No, sir.
Did you ever do anything to try to use him as a bookend to try to corner Ahmaud Arbery?
I did not.
Did you want to stop Ahmaud Arbery and talk to him?
I did.
Did you want to stop him and hold him so the police could come and arrest him?
That was my plan. Yes, sir.
And by hold him, I mean, detain him, not let him go anywhere, at least keep an eye on him.
Leading.
Sustained.
Yes.
Okay, no, don't answer, it's been sustained.
Sorry.
Been sustained. Other than the time that you put your shotgun on your shoulder and the time that you had it in your hands when Mr. Arbery grabbed it, did you ever pull out your gun?
No, I did not. I had my gun out and was walking towards the dogleg, the first encounter we had on Satilla, on Holmes, but he was already running away. He didn't see it, and
Fair enough. I asked you to pull it out.
Yeah, but
But that, I think you've explained you're just putting it back in trouble.
I want to hear
Did you
cross-examination.
leave the house that day with the intention to kill the guy
I did
that
not.
your dad mentioned to you?
I did not.
Did you leave the house that day with the?
Objection, leading.
It's not telling him that he did in fact leave the house that day. It's did you leave the house that day?
It's leading. It's sustained. It's a yes or no question. Don't ask me a yes or no question. It's leading. Right.
See,
Well,
this
it's not
judge is.
leading if the answer could be yes or no. But
We can debate it all you want, Mr. Sheffield.
I
It's
understand.
sustained.
I understand. Okay. Give me 1 second, please.
This judge is horrible, man. I tell you, this judge is horrible. The man, he asked the question, did you intend to kill this person when you left the house? Was it your intent to kill this person when he left the house? Objection leading. What are you supposed to ask him?
No further questions.
I want to hear cross. I want to hear cross-examination in this video.
Let's take a 10-minute recess. And
My wife is on here.
we'll come back for additional evidence.
All right for adjourned.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to recess. Oh, no, they may already recess. Let me go because I'm kind of behind.
Statement made by Agent Dial during the preliminary hearing.
Thanks for the
about
super chat.
about who said it.
And I understand the only person that heard it would have been the co-defendant.
The only person that heard had been the co-defendant, and so it's my understanding the co-defendant is not testifying. There is no basis then to try to get the statement in. And so for that reason, there's no good faith basis to ask the
This
question.
guy's horrible.
It's just going to inject that issue, which is currently not in the case. And so this is something that we're asking the court to limit the state from even asking the question. I certainly know what the answer will be, but I think it's
So I bet $20 they hit him with manslaughter at minimum.
the state could
It's
say
not
it's a
fully
good faith
blown,
basis
2 second
for
murder.
because the only place it comes from.
Nah, they gonna.
Mr. Bryan.
Thank you for the super chat, but I think he's gonna be not
Two,
guilty.
Your Honor, is I believe through the course of that.
Look at how smug this dude is.
Not put Mr. McMichael's character into evidence. We did not talk about things that would open the door to what the state has previously withdrawn as its 404B statements and other postings or videos or things that they withdrew. Similarly, to ask the court to have a candid conversation
Horrible,
about that now.
horrible
The
judge.
state indicated that if it was going to do something like that, it would certainly make the court and the defense aware, and we could hear that outside the presence of the jury. I bring it to the court's attention because I think that we have not opened the door. We did not put his character into issue. Now,
I have about a half an hour worth of cross, and then we're probably going to break for the evening. If I may, I'd like to be able to think and review my probably 40 pages of notes before I go ahead and let the court know what my plan is for the continuation of cross tomorrow. I will not go into it today.
Okay. We'll address it in the morning then.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.
We're going to release our other witnesses then, since it sounds like we're going to stop on Mr. McMichael today.
It sounds like
Sounds like it, good.
Probably be more than enough for the day.
Very good.
That's really for the day, correct? Not permanently. What?
Yeah.
For the day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, look like they're closing out for the day. So let's get back to a few things, right? Kyle Rittenhouse. Right now, the jury is deliberating. They're not going to have a verdict. I doubt they will have a verdict today, especially with this new introduction of evidence. People are scared. I'm pretty sure there are people on the jury that will not allow Kyle Rittenhouse to be not guilty. They will not. I want y'all to understand this. There's people on the jury that I don't care if Jesus Christ of Nazareth came down and said Kyle is innocent. They will not vote not guilty. So you're going to have people that will not vote not guilty on this juror, in this juror. And you got people that's going to vote in reality and say that the guy is not guilty. So what's going to happen is they're going to take a long time, in my opinion, and they're going to end up being a hung jury. If there's no mistrial with prejudice, it's going to be a hung jury. I just know when things are emotionally charged, there's no way you can escape people in Kenosha knowing what happened here. There's no way you can actually vet if a person is going to be impartial or not. There's women on this panel. And so it's not one-sided, if that makes sense. There's women on the panel. Some of these women are emotional. Some of these women are, or whatever the case may be. And then you have the logical women. And these ain't going to agree. They ain't going to agree. So you're going to have a hung jury, and it's going to take them at least till tomorrow to do it. That's what I think. Now, there's no way they're going to unanimously say that Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty. There is not going to be a unanimous consensus on guilty. I hope I didn't say not guilty. It's not going to be unanimous on guilty. It's just not. It's no way that all 12 jurors are going to say guilty on all charges. And I feel like if you're not guilty on the first charge of intentional murder, because of self-defense, then he ain't guilty on none of the other stuff. Because if self-defense applies, he's not guilty on anything because he acted in self-defense. And then so Bean said 10 jurors have already voted, 2 are holding. Okay, 10 already voted, 2 are holding out in fear of doxing and scared of media coverage. But they gotta watch this video now, and I don't know if this will change some jurors' minds, but I just have a feeling that, let me tell you how I think these scenarios go, right? I think that jurors have voted not guilty. 2 jurors don't want to finish the vote of not guilty because they're afraid that after they do that, it's going to burn the city down. These 2 jurors holding out, they're not holding out because this is finna be a guilty verdict. That's my opinion. Because a guilty verdict is happiness and joy and Kenosha amongst the protesters. But when you see 2 jurors that are holding out, that are afraid of the verdict, you know what the verdict is probably going to be, and that's what I'd say. Let's see. I think this cross-examination. Let me see if this cross-examination.
That was what I was heard about the neighborhood.
So you're telling this jury that what you heard was rumor from other people?
It was what I was told from my mother and seeing on Facebook and from the neighbors.
Okay. So you don't know this from the police, that's correct?
I didn't hear it from the police, no.
Okay. And so you understand that there were only 4 entering auto complaints in all of 2019 in Satilla Shores?
I knew that there were several entering autos, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we have Kim Ballesteros, and she was in January, right?
That's what she said, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then we have the Herndons, and they were in December, like December 7th or 8th of 2019. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, and the Herndons had left their car unlocked in their driveway, and it was the white guy who'd come up and gone into it, right?
I didn't know that the vehicle was unlocked or the race of who was suspected. I just knew that they had stuff stolen from their vehicle.
So it's fair to say you had incomplete information about who was committing the crimes in Satilla Shores?
Yes.
Okay. So the information you had being incomplete, you started making assumptions about who must be doing this, right?
I didn't make assumptions at that point until February 11th when I saw what I saw that evening.
And then you assumed this must be the person responsible for all the crime within Satilla Shores.
I was under assumption that having Mr. Arbery being seen multiple times on the video on 220 Satilla Drive and the stuff stolen out of that house, that he has continued to come back to that house and to be, I guess, as brazen as after I witnessed him go through that yard and look to be creeping coming in, and then putting the lights on him, and then him acting like he was armed under the way that he reached for his pants, and then ran into that house, and then walking around afterwards, seeing that and knowing that he saw me, that I saw him, and then he continued to go on, and that he's been there several times, led me to believe that, yes, that these burglaries that I've been hearing about and that I knew about at 220 could have been him, because I saw him, and this is verified from the police and from the videos from that evening and from talking to Officer Rash and Mr. Al Benzie, that they've seen him as well, that, yeah, this is a probability that this is the guy.
So let's go ahead and break that down, okay? Your mom and dad, well, your father especially, told you that Officer Rash had stopped by, correct?
On the 11th?
No, I'm sorry. Bad question.
Yeah, bad
You
question.
understand that Officer Rash in December met with your father and told him,
Hey, I'm just watching this trial until something else happened with Kyle Rittenhouse. So
items stolen off of his boat, and Mr. English suspected his subcontractors.
I didn't know where my dad got that information. I did not
Okay.
know that it came from Rash, and I believe it was my mother that told me that, and then my dad started repeating it afterwards. But it was my mother that was the first one.
Okay, so your mom told you that Larry English had items stolen off of his boat and suspected his subcontractors, correct?
No, there was stuff stolen off the boat, and that then when she said that, there has been people in this house. I didn't know who stole, but I just know that they have been people in that house, verified that people have been in the house, and then there's been stuff been stolen.
And that's multiple people in the house, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so not just Mr. Arbery.
that's correct.
Okay. So you knew about the white couple who had gone in.
I knew that there was several people. I didn't know race. I didn't know couple. I just knew that there's been several people seen at that house at that time.
So several different people in your mind had been going into that open, unsecured construction site during this period of time.
That's correct.
So any one of these people could be the people who had taken the items off of Larry English's boat.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you about July 13th.
they stretching, boy.
And the man who's homeless under the bridge,
Yes.
white, black, Asian, Hispanic.
He was white.
Okay. And then you talked about
And they bringing up race.
the ATM situation. That was when, in 2008?
2008.
Okay. City of Pascagoula?
It was.
Pascagoula.
Pascagoula.
Thank you, Pascagoula. City of Pascagoula. Did you report that at that time?
I did not.
And the two people who had come up to you, black, white, Asian, Hispanic?
They were black.
And now in 11, you said, some guy attempted to get into your car.
Mhm.
Was this person black, white, Asian, Hispanic?
He was white.
Did he appear to be homeless?
No.
Okay.
No, he did not.
Did he appear to be a worker?
He seemed to be strung out, I would say. It was quick. It was not.
And you did not report it to the police or the city of Pascagoula?
Jackson County Sheriff's Department. I contacted a coworker and let him know what was going on, what happened, where I was at, and he said, "Yeah, we'll go check the scene on it." I didn't call emergency line, or I called deputy sheriff, a friend of mine.
Okay, so you had a friend who then went and checked it out. So no
I
police
believe he
report.
did. I thought he made a report.
So when we're looking here, once again, at State's Exhibit 147, Mr. Sheffield played part of it for you earlier. Do you remember that?
Which one was it?
This is your father's July 13th, 2019 911 call.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so I think we got about 1 minute into it.
And my son and I just discovered a guy. We think he may be living on the Bluff Creek Bridge on 17. We just went up there and made contact with him. Real shady-looking fella. And he, possibility he may be the one that's been breaking into all these automobiles right there tonight. Just wanted to make somebody aware that there was somebody living under there.
Was that the remainder of the call where he called the guy under the bridge a shady-looking guy?
Seems there's a few more to it, but yeah, I mean that was continuing of that audio, obviously.
And you made contact with the shady-looking white guy under the Fancy Bluff Bridge while armed, correct?
I did, yes, ma'am.
And your father had his gun on him too, correct?
I believe he did. I would assume he did, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you brandish and show your weapons to the man?
I did not.
This was just some sort of pleasant conversation with the homeless guy under the bridge, is what you're telling this jury.
Yeah, it came pleasant once I split between him and the machete that he had there, and asked him what's going, how's he doing, what's going on. He stayed right where he was and continued to fish, and I didn't see it through.
Okay. But your dad still decided afterwards to call 911.
Yes.
Not before.
We walked up on the guy. We didn't, once we investigated, once we saw that there was somebody there and what was happening, yeah, we still called to let the police know what's going on.
You took it upon yourselves to go ahead and investigate it.
See,
correct?
she's trying to lead him.
Yeah, yes, we did.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about your time in the Coast Guard.
It's predictable. She's predictable.
So in the Coast Guard, when you first start out, it's E1, E2, E3, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you become a petty officer at E4.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, within the petty officer category, it goes all the way up to like E9.
E9.
And then you can go all the way up to warrant officer, correct?
Can't.
All right. And you had been in for about 9 years?
9 and some change, yes, ma'am.
Right. So you had to do standard recruit training in 2007.
Yes.
And then machinery technician training from April 14th of 2008 to July 3rd of 2008.
That sounds right.
And then July 13th through August 13th of 2009, basic boarding officer, correct?
Yes.
And the basic boarding officer, do you take that when you become an E4 or
No.
before that?
No, you take.
Right, Sky? Why are they talking about the Coast Guard?
If the commanding officer decides that you would be a good candidate to go to it, it's not mandatory.
And then in 2010, from August 2nd, 2010 through September 10th, 2010, you had air conditioning and refrigeration classes during that period of time?
I did.
All right, so when you left the Coast Guard, your rank was still E4, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that is a machinery technician.
That was the rate. Yes, or yes, the rate. The rank was E4. Yes, ma'am.
So back in 2009, when you
You're watching Ahmaud Arbery's case.
boarding officer
See that right there?
classes, you understood what the Fifth Amendment was, right?
Yes, ma'am.
They've
Right
recessed.
to remain silent.
That's correct.
And you heard
Kyle
Jason
Rittenhouse.
Seacrest testify that law enforcement cannot force anyone to speak with them.
That's right.
Okay, so you learned as part of your time in the military that
I see where she
you
going.
can't force people to speak with you.
That's correct.
Okay, and that if someone walks away, you have to let them walk away.
Yes.
Unless they're detained because they committed a
In
crime.
fact, you
Or
were
investigated.
trained that displaying a weapon may be considered psychological coercion, which is prohibited by the courts, and as a law enforcement officer may be grounds for suppressing evidence. Isn't that what you were taught?
Under certain situations, yes, ma'am.
In addition, you were also taught that the best weapons retention technique is to not make your weapon accessible to anyone, right?
Under certain situations, yes, ma'am.
And you were also taught
Twat.
about the deadly force triangle, correct?
Yes.
So twat. The deadly force triangle. It says 14,000 people watching live.
And you were taught that
Hit the
deadly
like button. Hit the
force
like button. Hit the like
is
button.
only to be used as a last resort, correct?
That's correct.
These in evidence?
No, I can tender it if you'd like me to.
What?
Before you show it to the jury.
What?
You might want to follow the rules of procedure. I object, Your Honor, then. I'm sorry.
None. Oh, I want to see the judge get on her about this.
I can see the exhibits that counsel wishes to tender. That would be helpful.
She just promoted. She just presented evidence.
That's it?
You intend to mark it?
Yes, I was showing it to you. I intend not.
He's been getting on that other attorney all day long. Oh, little stuff. She just presented evidence to the jury that's not presented or logged in the evidence that the defense can see. But the judge,
414.
what is the judge going to do?
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Mr. McMichael, I'm going to show you what has been marked as 414.
He didn't ream her for that?
All right, this time the state would tender.
She just introduced evidence to the jury without the defense being notified of it.
No objection.
All right. So this was one of the PowerPoint slides you were shown as part of the deadly force triangle, and deadly force is only to be used as a last resort, correct?
That's correct.
And that's what he did.
You were also trained never to point a firearm at someone unless you intended to use it. Is that correct?
In certain circumstances.
Under certain yes, and then under certain situations, it could be used as a deterrent.
She just told evidence to the jurors, presented evidence in front of the jurors, and the defense had no idea. And the judge said nothing. And he reamed the defense attorney for merely questioning the objections that the prosecution kept making while he was doing direct.
All right. So what I'm going to do now is talk about what happened on the 23rd of February.
How did he let that go?
2020. All right.
He walked out of the courtroom.
Let's go ahead and start at the moment your dad kind of came running into the house. He was yelling for you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. He yelled that the guy from the other night was running down the road.
Yes.
And you understood that he was talking about the black van that you had seen go into the open unsecured construction site 12 days beforehand on February
Open
11th.
He
unconstructed.
said the guy that had been breaking into the house just ran by. So yes, that was what I was thinking at the time.
And your father ran into his bedroom to get his .357 Magnum revolver.
Yes, were those? Yes, ma'am.
Right. And I want to be real clear. He didn't say he'd seen the man breaking into the house.
No,
Just that he'd seen the man running down the street.
that has been breaking in the house, is what he said. Yes, ma'am.
And you hadn't seen the black man in the 12 days between February 11th and February 23rd, had you?
I did not.
And at this time, you were working at Metz and Marine,
I was.
and
black
your
man.
hours were really early in the morning to about 5
Call
o'clock?
him his
It
name.
depended on what was going on. It was usually 5 to 1 or 2 in the evening, but it could change so much.
All right, so I just want to be clear. 5 o'clock in the morning to 1 or 2 in the afternoon, or are you talking 5 p.m. to 1 or 2 at
5
midnight?
a.m. to 1 p.m. sometimes.
All right, so on February 23rd, 2020, when your dad came in and yelled for you, you didn't know where the black man was coming from.
I had an idea. He said running down the road, the guy that's been breaking in. I've never seen him before. I've kind of had an idea that maybe he's coming from 220. But we'll just go out and check out and see what's going on.
But your dad just said he's running down the road, correct?
Yes,
And you didn't know where he was going when he was running down the road.
I did not.
All right. And you had no idea what he'd actually been doing that day.
Not at that time, no.
But what you did know at that point in time was that Mr. Arbery had been at the open unsecured construction site on February 11th. Is that right?
Yes,
And you knew about 2 other times. Is that correct?
I knew that he's been there several times, 2 other times, and that stuff has been stolen out of there. And then the way that he reacted to me on the 11th was the thought that was in my mind.
Okay. Now, you didn't suspect him
The
of
black
having
man.
stolen your handgun out of
The
your
black
car
man.
54 days earlier, did you?
No, I have no idea who did that.
The black man.
Did
Open,
you tell Diego Perez
unsecured.
that you knew who did it?
No, I didn't.
Did you indicate to Diego Perez you had a good idea who was a good suspect in the neighborhood who had done it?
To Diego? No, I did not.
Did Diego Perez actually show you the videos from his house to see if anyone was going up and down cars or people?
On the first,
When
when my
you-
pistol
yes.
was stolen. So I walked around. I started noticing that everybody had these things. So I saw that Diego's house had cameras while I was waiting on the police to come to make the report. That's the first day I met Diego, and I asked him if there was any if he had any footage from this morning because I had a pistol stolen, and I asked if I can have his thumb drive. And I got his thumb drive and looked through, and I didn't see anybody. Saw a couple of trucks that were that I've never seen before that had me wonder a little bit, but I didn't see anybody on there.
Okay, so you're saying that Diego Perez actually gave you a thumb drive with these videos on them?
Yes,
Okay. Isn't it true that you stood there with Diego Perez and looked at the videos with him at the same time?
no, I took it home with me.
So, while watching, you weren't with Diego Perez watching the videos when you said to Diego Perez, "I think I know who did this."
I never said that to Diego Perez.
Come on, Judge. Y'all gonna object to any
All
of
right, so let's
this?
go ahead and go back to February 23rd, 2020. Okay?
I'm talking on the live stream.
So, when you set out with your father, your goal was to go ahead and just talk to Mr. Arbery.
Yes, to find out to verify if it was the same individual I saw on the 11th.
So basically, ID him.
I was going to ID him, and then yes,
Right. And at that point in time, when your dad came running and he was all excited, there goes the guy running down the street, you didn't call 911.
I did not.
Right. Did you tell your dad to call 911?
I asked him if he did. I was I was thinking that, I asked him, have you called 911? Because he comes running in. I thought that he was already on the phone with him or had contacted because he was outside. And he said yes. So
Somebody super chatted said a prosecutor outside the courtroom just punched a woman in the face, tore up her sign, and then body slammed
Detective
her.
Nohilly hours after this incident, correct?
I did.
Okay. You never told him that you thought your dad had already called 911.
I told him that I believed 911 was called. I don't know exactly what I said, but I believe I did tell him that I was under the impression that my father had called 911.
Do you remember on about page 9 of your transcript telling Detective Nohilly that Mr. Arbery's running, he won't stop? I said, that's him. Stop right there, stop where you're at, and then you turned to your father and said, call the cops, you know, there he is.
Your Honor, if we could show him the transcript.
Yeah, if I can have a transcript.
Yeah.
I'm asking about page 9 of the transcript. I don't think he's been shown the transcript.
Let me ask you this, do you recall telling Detective Nohilly that?
I'd like to see the transcript, see exactly what I said.
Well, this
She asked him whether he recalled it, said no, so she's getting the transcript.
Yes, sir.
judge is trash, but.
Oh, it's at the very top. That's why I couldn't see it. Take a look at the very top. First couple lines.
All right, I've been on here long enough. I'm gonna get off here. I'm finna watch the rest of this. Y'all can go watch it on your own computers. I'm gonna watch the rest of this. I think this is important. But I'll gear back up if they end up presenting a verdict, and we'll talk about it.
Yes, I did say that.
But I'm gonna watch this on my own because I really want to know what's going on.
At this point in
I
time,
appreciate
it's
you
fair to
guys.
say
Thank you
that
guys. 30%
you're
off
in
the store.
Car on Burford.
30% off the store. Y'all can go in there and shop if you like. I'll do it till tonight, and then I'm